Hello my lovelies, it's Rob again at Kickbackgarage. So today in this video I might have a little bit of a rant. I'm going to talk about fitting rear hubs and reaming rear brake pads on your lambretta. So it could be an interesting watch. And I'm filming this New Year's Eve in the garage, New Year's Eve, when everybody else is partying. So I'm going to join the party by myself. There you go. And I'll see you after the intro. Before I make any progress on my, or take the engine out of my Series 2, I have to get completely finished with the TV 175 engine. And the only thing that's left to do here is fit a new rear drum. Now I fit a new lay shaft. I try and do that on all my builds. There's just been too many snapping. And 60, 70-year-old parts in the case of this, it's your life is depending on this tiny little bolt here. So what I was going to talk about is the fact that it doesn't matter what make of rear brake pad you buy, with maybe an exception of the Makita. Is it Makita they're called? I think they are. I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments. But even with those, you do have to fettle them a little bit. And I don't think that all these different manufacturers, I don't think they've got it wrong. What I think is they've probably gone after an original design. So all of them are a little bit too thick to fit on the new rear hub. And I don't think that the brake surface on the new rear hub is bigger than it needs to be. What I think it is in the factory, they used a special tool. It was basically a rear hub with blades in. And they stuck it on the back of the scooter, fired up the engine, threw it in gear, and that skimmed the brakes so that they sat centrally in relation to the new hub they was going to be fitting. So that's why I think that they've got a little bit more pad on them, on the new ones, than we think they had on the originals, which I don't think. I think they just reamed them all. As it goes to stand, rear brakes on lambrettas are pretty dismal. Can be pretty dismal. I've had some that have locked up, some not. It seems really hit and miss, really, to tell the truth. But so what I've been doing, the last 4 builds, I've actually had to get the sandpaper out and rub them. Because if you look on the interwebs, Tino Sacchi, he made quite a nice reamer tool, which is just one single blade with a handle on it. And you dial in the blade and you give it a couple of swipes, try and fit the hub, take it all off again. It's a lot of rigmarole. But I was actually looking for one of those because a couple of lads in the club have got Indian blocks. And the problem with Indian blocks is that these pivot bolts, let me do some wobbly cam. These pivot bolts here, they are slightly off center. So it doesn't matter how you ream your brake pads, the pads actually don't fit centrally under the hub. So when you apply the brake like this, whoop, you end up just hitting with one edge first before the other edge on the opposite side. So that's a real problem. So even if you have like a proper brake tool reamer, you're not really going to get those brakes to work really well. So I've been scouring the internet looking for that Tino Sacchi one, and I don't actually think he makes them anymore. Or they're out of stock. It seems everybody's out of stock. The people that sell Tino Sacchi stuff is in the UK, Camlam, and in Germany, there's quite a few dealers that do that. I think Jockey's Box and Stop has some stuff from Tino, and I definitely know that LTH has some stuff from Tino, and what they call TD Customs. Now, so that looked like a viable product, and they've not been in stock. So, as I say, I've just been using sandpaper, and I've used ages on it. It's quite hard compound on these new brake pads. These particular ones, they're BGM ones. And the thing is, when you use sandpaper by hand, you're not going to get those properly central like you do with the proper reaming tool. Anyway, it's just the fact that you have to do it in necessity just to be able to fit the rear hub, and just hope after a while that they shape themselves. As they get worn, they'll shape themselves to the rear hub, because the nice thing is on both my scooters, even though one of them has got an Indian engine case, both back brakes were able to lock up, which is good, and actually just luck on my part. Another tool that I've seen is probably much better and much more professional is LTH in Germany. They make their own reaming tool, which is like a bracket, and it's got a hole for a mini mill. And what you do is obviously bolt it all down, and then you turn your mill on, electric mill, and run it around, and that will centralize the pads to the central lay shaft, which I think that's probably at the moment probably the best solution. But they're quite expensive. You need the mill, the bracket, and I do it like 3 or 4 times a year. It's an investment I can't really do. Now, another thing to point out as well is the original type tool. If you want to have a look how that works, I know that SL UK, I'll try, if I remember, to put a link under the video. SL UK, it could actually just be a link to an article that they made. I'll find that. It's probably quite easy to find. But then they use the original type one. But it is a lot of work, because you have to move these blades. There's 3 or 4, I can't quite remember off the top of my head. And there's little windows cut in this this hub, and you can actually see it doing its work. Yeah. So because I can't afford one of those, or don't want to afford one of those, as you know, I'm saving up for something. What I decided to do is revisit a tool from Tino Sacchi that I actually slated when I built the SST 265 engine. And that tool is this. It is I bought this directly from Tino, because I'm a foreigner. And it's basically just a hose clamp with threaded bar and this nice little handle on it. And after I'd used this the last time, I'll tell you why I don't like it, and I'll tell you why I like it. I was on the internet, and I was looking for hose clamps at this in this size, and suddenly the price of this tool, I know they sell these at Camlam in the UK, and there's some dealers in TD Customs. I've seen them at TD Customs as well in Germany, but they don't seem to know where they completely ignore my email. So I grabbed this directly from Tino, and it came really quick, I have to say. He sent it with express postage, so that was good. And it's basically a hose clamp with this fancy handle, and they have glued sandpaper on the inside there in different places. And my gripe of this is, if you want better brakes, then this isn't the tool for the job. But because I've got an Italian block and I can't get my rear hub on, then this tool is pretty ingenious, because it saves you loads of work trying to rub down these pads. What I have been doing, I've been trying to fit the hub slightly, turning the hub around. Where I see the marks, I've been rubbing that down, and then it's a real pain in the arse. And however you do it, when you're doing it by hand, you're going to get high and low spots. On this, my gripe is it's not completely 100% round. So when you tighten this up, it could become a little bit oval. But when you fit it, I'm going to fit it here now. Let's see if I can get you in shot. Can I do that? Yes, I can. Not too bad. But when you fit it, you'll see this. It's quite tight to get on. You have to sort of splay it a little bit to get it on there. So I'm thinking it doesn't really matter that it's not completely round, and obviously you're not fitting. What was I going to say? Yeah, you're not reaming it in the sense of the word that they're going to be perfect. They're going to be perfectly matched to your hub, but as a necessity and a real time saver, I decided to bite the bullet, even though I'm not really convinced about him, because this is sort of the only option we've got at the moment that's quite affordable, and it saves a lot of hassle. And this will definitely ream the pads better than if you do it by hand, and that's my thinking about it. So at the moment, it's a tool. I don't really like it, but I actually love it to bits at the same time, if you get my drift. So let's give this a spin. So basically, I think the easiest way I've found at doing this is just, when you start off, just spin it a bit. Oh, it's a bit tight because it's brand new. And I think he uses a slightly different hose clamp than the one on the last one. Oh, and of course, the sandpaper is completely new, so it's really hard to try and get that thing to spin. There we go. I just started off. Once I got it started off, it'll be all right. But it's sticking, lad. What a pain in the ass. It's just because of the glaze on the pad. Oh. It's not having any of it, lad. It's not having any of it. You can see I've already taken off some material, which is good. Because without taking off material, no chance of fitting that rear hub. Right, I'm going to try it a different way. I'm going to tighten that down a bit. Sort of like that. And see if I can get it to move again. There we go. Oh, know what I mean? Once this sandpaper is bedding in a little bit, it should make things a little bit easier. Oh boy, this was a lot easier on the other one, on the SST I did. So that was a bit of a pain actually. There you go. I know that once I start getting this moving, there we go. I reckon it'll get you a lot more consistent finish than if you do this just by simply rubbing it by hand. And I want to get the whole pad on both sides in each sweep. And once I've got it down a little bit, I want to try and spin it all the way around to give me a bit of a uniform . Which is something I'm doing, it's stopping on that edge there. So I'm going to flip it over, to tell you the truth, and put it that way. Or it'll be defeating the object a little bit. Get her on there. There, I'm getting the full pad now, which is good. And if I can get it to go all the way around, I'll be super happy. There we go. Nice. Right. Let's see if I can get the hub over. And as you can see, if I blow that, you'll see, get quite a lot of material off that just after a couple of passes. Good job it isn't asbestos, or I'd be fucking coughing up my lungs here. Get on the splines, lad. So just after a couple of passes, I can actually fit this hub, it seems. I'll tighten it down and see how that goes. Right, moment of truth. So what I do with these, I torque them down to the lowest alternative, and then I torque them down to the lowest alternative, and then I fit the locking bracket and torque them up a little bit more so that the holes line up. This bolt here is from Casa Performance or Casa Lambretta, one of the two, and it is the original type with nylock on the inside there. Now the big moment of truth is, does it spin? And yes, it does. And does it break? Yes, it does. Great success. What that means is I can now take this engine out the stand, start on my Series 2, which will be the next video. Because there's no festivities tonight, I'm going to already start on that tomorrow. So in a couple of weeks, the videos on my Series 2 will come. And then we're going to start on the TV 175. Really cool. So I think if we just boil it down to a quick sentence, the Tino Sacchi tool will not center the brake pads to the hub, but it will now allow you to fit the hub really easy. And this video is in real time, so I didn't use more than 10 minutes for the whole operation. Whereas if you actually decide to do the old rubbing by hand with sandpaper job, then yeah, it takes at least 2 hours to do it properly with that, and then it's still not a proper job anyway. So yeah, a necessary evil, I think, but it saves me a lot of time in the garage to do other stuff that's a bit more interesting. Anyway, I love you and leave you there, and I'll see you all hopefully in the next one. Ta-ra!